welcome back to the Fellowship of Beer.
Hello.
I'm with Nick, and we are going to do a beer focus. What have you got for us, Nick?
I thought a channel about craft beer, and we haven't covered an IPA yet. Crazy talk.
What?
I know.
That is unacceptable.
So I brought with me S43, the artist formerly known as Sonnet 43. Their Taupo, which is a New Zealand dipper. It's named after, I think Taupo is the biggest lake in New Zealand. It's a massive volcanic lake, I believe. I've been there. It was a beautiful place. You know,
did you have a beer there?
I don't think I did, actually. I did pick up a Romanian tourist and feed him spaghetti on toast with scrambled egg, but that's another story.
Okay, we'll cover that in a different video.
So it's 8.1%. They've called it a New Zealand double IPA. Looking at the ingredients, I think it's on the New England kind of front, because looking at the malt, they've used oats and wheat, and looking at the yeast, they've used London Ale 3, which is a hazier kind of yeast and one that's commonly used for New England IPAs. The hops are New Zealand classics like Rakau, Nelson Sauvin, Waiti, Mutera, Motueka and Kohatu, which I've never had before. But it also uses a little smidge of Australian Galaxy. Cheeky. Lost
cheeky.
Tourist.
I like it.
So without further ado, let's crack it open.
Let's crack it open indeed. Very excited. I love some of the flavours and aromas you get, especially from those New Zealand hops. Quite special, aren't they?
New Zealand hops are my favourite hops in the world. Now, it's nicely. This also uses my actual favourite hop in the world, which is Mutera, which we've been using for years at Steam Machine Brewing Company. And it's one that isn't very common, really. Now, a quick note on glassware. The best glass to use is the one to hand, preferably cleaner than these. I thought I did a good job at cleaning these, but by all the bubbles you see, I didn't. When we're beer tasting, we prefer to use one that is slightly funneled, such as a cheap wine glass such as this, because it funnels the aromas into our nose. But drink from whatever you like, so long as you enjoy it.
I don't think I need the aroma funneling into my nose,
because
my nose is actually going to go into the foam if I sniff it too closely.
I can smell it from here, actually.
Yeah. It's an absolutely beautiful aroma.
Loads of like stone fruit, loads of like peaches, nectarines.
If I had a catchphrase of sticking my face into a bowl of peaches, I would use it right now.
It's definitely sticking your nose into a bowl of peaches. The bubbles are quite big. It's quite carbonated for an IPA, especially a New England IPA. But it's a double IPA, so that's going to help cut through the thickness of this strong beer. It's got like hints of mango and passion fruit. Little bit like vinous, like white wine, kind of Chardonnay notes. You get that from a lot of New Zealand hops. I'm going to get stuck in. Cheers.
Cheers, S43. There was a story about how you ended up with this beer.
There is.
I'll let you tell you that.
They were running out of lactose, and the brewing industry is a very friendly place. We're constantly lending stuff to each other, constantly people phoning up for advice to each other. It's a very friendly place to be. They were low on lactose for their imperial stouts this winter, so they phoned us up. Within half an hour, they came and nabbed all of our lactose they needed, and away they went. They returned the lactose a week later, not used, some different ones.
I was going to say, that'd be impressive.
With a nice parcel of beer for our trouble.
What a wonderful set of people.
Jolly nice, wonderful people. So the head brewer, this brewery's gone through a very big transition. It started life as a...
They're in County Durham, aren't they?
They're in County Durham. They're very local to us, really. They started life as you know, more of a cask-forward real ale brewery, doing like an English bitter.
Yeah, as many breweries have, haven't they?
As many breweries do. They've kind of gone through a change of identity. One of the big leaders of that has been Alex Rattray, who is their American Texan brewer with a curly moustache. Alex pops in, you know, fairly frequently to the brewery, and we have a good catch up and a chat. The first time he visited us, he came with hot sausage rolls, so all round good guy, Alex.
Sounds amazing.
He's a very experienced brewer. He's had his own brew pub in Texas, and he's worked for some big breweries over there as well. So he really knows what he's doing, as you can tell from this beer.
Absolutely love that aroma.
It's got quite a big bitterness to it as well for a New England IPA, double IPA, and they haven't called it a New England IPA, but you know it's hazy, it's thick, and it you know
it's
actually
juicy.
It's very juicy, but it has some of those like big resin sticky notes as well. You know, the touch of pine bitterness. I think it's delightful.
It's lovely. What's it called?
It's called Taupo, which
Oh,
is one of the lakes in New Zealand.
Have you been there?
I have.
Have you had a beer there? Have you picked up any Romanian people and given them...
I don't know, it's all a bit of a blur. So I've decided to pair this beer with, and not only pair this beer, but also cook with this beer.
That's because last time you didn't cook for me.
So I thought I would do both.
Okay.
So this beer, so we prepared a Thai style curry, also inspired by my travels. It uses, I say inspired, you know, if you're a Thai person, you're watching this, you'll probably think, what are you butchering my culture for?
Yeah.
And adding beer to it. It's not, it's inspired. It's a Friday night thrown together from things in the fridge kind of curry. But one of the things we love doing with cooking with beer is beer-brining our meat. It's something which happens extensively in the brewer's pantry kitchen, led by Rick at Steam Machine.
I had a beer-brined turkey nugget before.
What? How was it?
It was amazing, and it was just going out on the tables for all the guests.
That's
just as
the
a
kind
treat.
of fun type caring place Steam Machine Brewing Company is.
Everyone was delighted.
So that this beer brining, what it does is it kind of tenderises the meat, and we use thigh a lot, like chicken thigh, which is like fatty, but it's a beautiful meat that locks in all the flavour. And you know what the beer does, the beer is slightly acidic, and it breaks down some of the collagens and the fats and things, but you know, it really does tenderise it. Couple that with the salt, and you end up with infusing the flavours into the meat itself. So this chicken thigh was beer-brined. It was beer-brined from this morning up until this evening. Then it was just fried off, sliced thinly, fried off in a pan. The vegetables I had to hand, which, you know, were onions, garlic, broccoli, peppers, and whatever else was in the fridge. They were just pan-fried once the chicken was taken out in a little bit of the chicken fat, a little bit of the stock, a little bit of the beer, no doubt, as well. When that was softened, the chicken was put back in there. We added this beautiful Thai paste. You know, I've made a lot of Thai curry paste from scratch, and I was taught how to do it in Thailand as well. But this range of Thai curry paste you can see here are just one of the most beautiful that I've came across, and it just saves so much effort if you are trying to cook on the fly like we were tonight.
What are they called?
You can see it here on the screen.
Okay.
That's stirred in with the meat and vegetables just until it starts to brown slightly, and it's then topped up with coconut milk. Once that's reduced down, we put a few other bits and bobs in there. We're lucky enough to have a kaffir lime leaf tree, so there was a couple of leaves that went in, a little bit of extra lemongrass, tiny bit of turmeric, a little bit of fish sauce. And once that cooked down and reduced, we've just served it up with a bit of brown rice. Now, the reason that we're pairing this beer with that food is because hoppy beers are powerful, and especially with this level of bitterness, are going to cut through those spices. They're going to cut through that creamy kind of silkiness. And, you know, we talk about when we're food pairing, we talk about matching intensity of flavour. This is a big, intense flavoured IPA. This is Thai food, and especially Asian cuisine and curries are big, bold flavours. So whilst lagers can be very refreshing, if you actually knock it up a level with something like a double IPA, you know, a West Coast IPA would work really well with this as well, with that level of bitterness. Any kind of double IPA matches really well. They go really well together. Curries and IPAs are a match made in heaven as far as I'm concerned.
They are. You keep talking because I'm busy now.
And seeing as though this is the first time that we thought we'd do an IPA, we thought we'd better have something delightful to pair with it.
Amazing.
S43, thank you very much. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.